A.J. Epenesa tearing it up here through the first 6 games. Everybody got a nice dose of A.J. over there in London at the end of the first half. Took points off the board for the Jags in a strong defensive effort in Week 5. They doubled down in Week 6, held the Giants without a touchdown. I know Micah says it all the time. You know, there could be given weeks where it's on the D to kind of pull the game out. You know, offense might be having a little bit of a sputtering start or whatever, and you guys got to pull it out. There's other weeks where it flips the other way. I think there have been enough of those instances, though, that when they do come up, you guys just say, time to handle business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been a huge believer in, you don't ask who starts the fire, you just go and put it out. So whenever things are maybe not going our way and defense needs to step up, I'm confident in myself and in my teammates and everybody, the whole defense, to just kind of stick their ground, stand their ground, and just make a play whenever we need it most.
Most people who watch the team play, we kind of, especially guys like Brownie, we kind of tend to oversimplify things. And one of the things that people might think is that now that there's a new guy calling defensive plays, that's made all the difference for you. But it's a really complicated equation.
Mm-hmm.
Getting, because it's been a growth for you throughout your career. Now
Right.
Here you are. I mean, you're having the season of a lifetime, and it's not just about Sean McDermott calling plays, right?
Right. That's definitely a part of it. Giving us calls to put us in positions to give us success, but also just the accountability help that I hold myself to, and the help from my teammates. I mean, it's cliche to say that, but it's the ultimate truth. Without the other 3 technique to my side helping me, that wouldn't influence one block the way that it did to help me get back there to get the sack. So it's truly a team sport, and without these guys around me, none of it would be possible.
You think about the young players in this group on the defensive front, and I think people were just idly waiting for whether it's your personal game, Ed's personal game, Greg's personal game, to hit like critical mass, for lack of a better term, where we see the plays that everybody knows you guys are capable of making, not just here or there, but week after week after week. And it feels like this year, all 3 of you are putting that week-to-week consistency out there in a way that is more frequent than maybe we've ever seen it before from each and every one of you. What has clicked that has lent itself to that week-to-week consistency? Not just for you. Like Greg's doing it, Ed's doing it, and you guys are like the young core.
I mean, I'm sure you've heard our position group throughout the building. We're a loud group. We're a rowdy group. And I think a lot of that success goes to our cohesion, our unity as a group and how close we are. I mean, I could go from the top of the list to the oldest guy from Vaughn all the way to the youngest guy in Kingsley, or Greg even, because I think he's the youngest. But
right,
yeah, right. But from the oldest to the youngest, I mean, we all have the utmost respect for each other, each other's game, and we're a bunch of brothers. You really see that dynamic back and forth with our group, and it's so fun to be around as well.
Give us an idea too of if you can quantify what maybe Vaughn will bring to the group after he gets back to 100%. I know he took quite a few snaps this last week, and how that in season, you don't know who's going to get hurt. Somebody probably will, kind of miss a game here at least or there. Switch shifting around. How does that morph throughout the season? You keep that cohesion going even when you don't know about the rotation that's coming.
I mean, our cohesion goes from the starters to even our practice squad guys, from, like I said, top to bottom. And I mean, to shout out Cam and Kingsley real quick, you see those guys working at practice, even though they're on the practice squad. Those guys are working, and they're working against our offensive ones. So all that hard work that they're putting in, making our offense better, is getting them better as well. And I know that I'm confident, my coaches are confident that if need be, they could come in and step in just as good as we could.
I know Vaughn's been here a little over a year now. I'm trying to remember if you had been out to his pass rush summit prior to him becoming a Bill. I think you were going out there, right? So just in the time you've been out there, and not just the input you get from Vaughn, the value is you can pick a bunch of different guys. Like you can find a guy with a similar body type as you that's got 8 years in the league and say, hey, what works for you at this size and length, and then incorporate it into your game. In the years that you have gone out there, to what degree would you say your repertoire has increased. I don't need to know what you think your best move is now. I'm not having to give it away state secrets. But from what your repertoire was, your pass rush repertoire was coming into the league to where it is now, has it increased twofold, fourfold, tenfold? Like, where do you think it is right now?
Yeah, I've been going to Vaughn's Summit since high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been going on for about 6 years now, or 7, 8. It's going on for a while, and I think my senior year was the first year it started. And I was able to attend there, and I've benefited from it every year, all the way from then to now, learning something, steps, hands, and like you said, asking anybody, someone who's a taller, skinnier guy with length, someone that's a little more like myself, just what do they use, like you said, like what do they use, what can I incorporate? And we're obviously still not the same person, so I have to use what I do and kind of just maybe add a tidbit of what they got, and just kind of throw it in there just to throw a mix-up as well.
So would you say, but the repertoire, how much bigger do you think it is now than maybe even your rookie season?
Even if you look at my moves now, I use the same moves I used in college.
Okay.
My repertoire is about this. I'd say it maybe doubled. I'd go and doubled and say and just move
like
number
just
of
stuff
moves.
you feel comfortable with, like I believe in this and I believe I can win with this.
Right. Yeah. But as a pass rusher, you only really need about 3-4.
Okay.
And I stick with those 3-4. And obviously, there's been some things added. Some things that I throw out there every once in a way. Exactly. But at the very minimum, or at the very simplest form, they're all relatively the same. It's just disguises.
Give us a little insight into the conversations that are happening. You guys are in the league lead in sacks. This team hasn't done that for a while. Give us how does the conversation go when you're watching the game film about when a guy like you, the sack strip fumble and all the, the couple of plays you've made that have not only been big, but timely. How's that conversation go when, Vaughn, who's, you've been there since high school.
Right.
How do those conversations go?
I think Coach E, our D-line coach, says it best. He says, we're not surprised, but we're not satisfied. Like these things don't surprise us. Every single one of us have been doing these in camp, in practice every single day, learning from Vaughn's summit, and then just being able to come and operate it in the games, like he always says, we're not surprised, but we're never satisfied. So we're going to keep pushing to make that lead a little bit more.
Not to, again, ask for a game plan here, but when you face a human the size of Trent Brown, who's 6'8", 370, the approach has to change a little bit, right?
Right.
That's what you got this weekend with him at left tackle.
Right, yeah. No, NFL linemen are on a different level when it comes just to physicality, size, athleticism. So you have to get creative when it comes to moves, comes to things to beat them, and sometimes being creative is simplicity. Simplicity is sometimes the fastest and easiest way to make something happen. Yes, he's a big target, or he's a big body. But we'll hopefully have a good plan for him this weekend.
I know you guys watch a ton of film, particularly a guy against individual film, like what this guy do to the left tackle I'm facing. What did this guy use? How did he do? Do you ever get to the thing where it's a little bit like the movie Princess Bride? Have you ever seen where he goes, I know that you know that I know you're going to do this?
When they're drinking the poison.
Right, exactly. And
I know that movie, yeah.
After the first rep, you start thinking, okay, he thinks I'm thinking this, but I know he thinks that. So I'm going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a ton of that going on. It's an unspoken conversation you have with yourself, and he's having with himself about each other, right? And it's the weirdest thing ever.
We call that the game within the game.
Yeah.
Vaughn's kind of brought that idea over here, and I've always had that kind of the thought of how that goes, but he put a vocab word behind it, I guess. The game the game within the game is kind of the head game within the whole game of football. So I know how this man has been beaten before in front of me, and he knows how I've been beaten, and now it's kind of that battle between each move, counter, he's countering what I'm doing, I'm countering what he's doing, with the objective of getting to the ball and stuff like that, and him keeping me away. So it's that subtle chess match within the overall game that makes this game so unique as well.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks for spending some time with us. We appreciate it. And stay healthy the rest of the way, and have fun storming the castle this weekend in Foxborough, all right?
Thank you,
That's
guys.
AJ Epenesa joining us here on One Bills Live.